What's up, anglers? Finally coming to you with this video. I know it's been a while. I've really been wanting to show this to you guys. Unfortunately, the way things are working right now, I am a hashtag essential worker, so haven't had really time to shoot anything. Everything's been really bad as far as fishing. I got to take the boat out last weekend for the first time. It ran great. I was very, very pleased with how good everything went, especially for the age of this boat. It's a little bit older of a boat, so you know, I expected a few bugs. There were a few, but not too many, thankfully. So yeah, without further ado, we're going to get into this boat build. This is a 1988 Venture bass boat. It's got a 175 Fast Strike Johnson on the back of it that pushes this boat sweet. I mean, it's like butter. It tops out around 70, and it's a lot of fun. It already came with a Minn Kota 70-pound thrust, 1224-volt trolling motor that pulls this boat fantastic. It's a little bit older of a model, but you can tell this boat's always probably been covered. It's got brand new carpet front and back. Like I said, the budget didn't allow for a newer bass boat, but what I did manage to find was an old bass boat that somebody else has already gone through. Just a little hint, if you're going to buy a bass boat and you're going to buy an older bass boat, it's always, always, always better to try to find something in your price range that somebody else has already gone through and done most of the legwork for you. Not to say that it's always a bad idea to get a project, but you want to make sure that it's got good solid bones, because you can get into some major repair issues and repair costs that you didn't foresee. Obviously, if you're going to do a lot of the motor work yourself, if you're going to redo the carpet yourself, if you're going to redo that stuff yourself, you can save a lot of money doing so. However, you really want to be careful, because you can end up spending more on the repair cost than what the boat's actually worth, when you could have taken that money in the first place and bought a lot better platform to start building with. This boat is pretty much already complete. I'm not going to do much to this boat. The only things I'm probably going to look at doing, we're probably going to do some sort of clear coat. The gel coat is gone off the fiberglass. But when you see these bass boats that look dull, or you can run your hand across them and you can actually feel the flake, that means your gel coat's just worn off over the years. Now, I've been doing some research online, because I've never actually done this myself. But what I would probably like to do is do an automotive clear coat, at least on the top. There's a few options as far as marine options for a clear coat that's actually more of an automotive paint rather than doing an actual gel coat. Still haven't decided what I want to do. From my research, there's a couple brands that are actually, from the reviews I've read, may be tougher than gel coating it again. So we're probably going to go that direction on it. Haven't quite decided yet. A couple things I want to do. The motor has lost its shine. The decals are starting to flake, and so I'm probably going to strip those decals off, redo those, repaint the motor, re-clear coat the motor, all that good stuff. Just kind of shine it up, make it look pretty again. I don't want to put a lot into this boat, because again, what we just talked about, I don't mind telling you, I spent around $3,000 on this boat. Like I said, it had a great running early 90s Johnson on the back of it, so the motor is newer than the boat itself, but the boat is still solid. You always want to look at the transom, because that is going to be your main weak point. If you can look at the transom where the motor mounts and there's any kind of fiberglass cracking back there, you're going to run into some major repair costs, because it costs a lot of money to take that into a shop. They have to actually cut the fiberglass out of there, re-fiberglass all that in, and it's major repair costs, and probably something the normal DIYer is not going to be able to do at home. Alright, well, let's get into the boat walkthrough. We're going to have a little bit of lighting issues here, because like I said, I am shooting this at night. By the time I get off work, go get my daughter, bring her home, we have snack, we do playtime, mom gets home, we do supper. It's already dark. I've been wanting to do this video for several days now. Posted a few days ago a little teaser wanting to do this video, but it just hasn't happened. Anyway, let's get into the boat walkthrough, and I'll show you guys what I got. Alrighty, we're going to start back here at the motor. Like I said, this is a really solid motor. I did a lot of research on these motors. Turns out these motors in the early 90s were really strong running motors. They were really reliable. They had a couple of their little quirks, like most motors, but the person I bought it from, he seemed very knowledgeable on boats, and so he had already done a lot of the legwork as far as refurbishing this motor. He had just installed this hydraulic steering kit system that you see. That was about, I think, like a $300 upgrade, something like that. What that basically does is that gets rid of your cables. Cables will eventually rust and get corrosion, and they'll start seizing up, and it becomes very hard to turn the motor. And on these big motors like this, you can have a lot of torque steer, which means it's very difficult to turn the motor when it's under load. But anyway, I'm not going to show you inside the back. I mean, it's a typical bass boat in the back. Got a big fuel cell. You have batteries, all that good stuff is back there. It does not have an onboard charger, which is something I want to add. So we come down here, just typical locking storage, if I can get it open. Like I said, you just put this carpet on here. It was brand new carpet, so some of the latches are still kind of stiff. But yeah, just typical storage. Like I said, I'm putting my life jackets in there right now. It's nice that it has all these seals around it, because if it does rain, if I do get water in the boat, it's not going to get my stuff wet. And my life jackets ain't all going to be soupy and nasty when I pull them out. The center there is just a live well, and the other side's just the same thing that's on this side. That's actually a live well right there in the middle, so that's super nice. He already cut me a couple holes out, put me a couple cup holders in there, so that's good. Typical boat seats, I may end up replacing those, I'm not sure. It did already come with 2 depth finders. This one is actually already GPS enabled, so it's really nice. It shows my path. If I do get out on a big lake with it, it's going to show me how to get back to the boat ramp. It's going to show me the path I took while I was fishing. I can set waypoints, so all that's very nice that already has that in here, because those can be quite expensive to replace. Some of the gauges work, some of them don't. I know the fuel works, and I believe the tachometer works. The speedometer doesn't really work, which doesn't really matter to me, because I'm not planning on, trying to top speed it out. I'm just not that guy on the water. I'm a little bit more cautious when it comes to being on the water. So, yeah, typical little hand throttle system. It does come with a hot foot, but it has not been installed yet. So I'm really wanting to get that installed. It already has somebody installed an aftermarket trim lever over here. That way you do not have to take your hands off the steering wheel to trim the engine, which that is super nice. It just makes it a little bit more safer, especially once you get the hot foot installed, which is basically works like a car gas pedal at that point. That way you don't have to have one hand on the throttle over here. You literally just control everything with your feet. Your trim's right there beside your steering wheel, like where your blinker would be in your car, and you don't have to worry about that. Moving up to the front deck here, just some more storage, some more dry storage there. I put things like ropes, anchors, things along that line. My fire extinguisher, my air horn, everything I might need for an emergency or to tie the boat off or to anchor the boat out is all right in there. Very seldom used stuff there. This is actually a live well, a pretty good size live well. Small hatch, but that doesn't really matter. All you got to do is be able to get the fish in and out. Both the front and rear aerators work, and the bilge pumps works, which that's a definite plus. Then you just have more underdeck storage here. This is kind of hard to use. I was kind of wanting storage that I could make into a like small day box or something like that, where I just could throw a few baits that I was using in here. However, it's just not going to be big enough to do that. That's okay. There's plenty of storage in the boat itself, so that's fine. You have a front depth finder here. I may upgrade this at some point, because this particular one is not very big, so it's very hard to see while you're sitting up there on your chair. It's hard to look down here and actually see what you're looking at, especially if it's in really bright sunshine. It's just an older depth finder, which is fine, but I'm probably going to upgrade this. I would like to get probably a 7-inch for the front. That back there is fine. Honestly, I'm not probably rarely going to ever use the GPS. I mean, we fish rivers, which I'm not going to need to know. I may like the waypoint setting, but I haven't really played with it enough to figure that out. Alright, on this side of the boat, it does have a rod locker, which is super nice. Like I said, this boat was in the late 80s, and they didn't start adding these till like mid 80s to early 80s, so it just had one. I've got a few rods in here right now. The other ones are in the house. But yeah, just typical rod locker storage. And I kind of found it interesting, in later bass boats, up here on this end, they would have a little wall right here with PVC to actually stick your rods up in. That way each one had its own individual thing. Well, enough people have been complaining here lately that now they've went back to open rod lockers. And I really, honestly, as long as you have rod socks on, which I don't have rod socks on these right now, as long as you have rod socks on your rods, they never get tangled up. So I would rather have the big open thing. I can put probably 20 rods in this thing if I wanted to, or I can have 5. It doesn't limit me as far as how many rods I can have. If I only had 6 places there to put rods in, I would only be able to put 6 rods in here. There's not really much to these old bass boats. They don't have the storage that modern bass boats have. They don't have the deck, as you can see from the video. There's a big open space in the middle. I personally like that. I bought this boat because I have a 2-year-old. I want to start taking her out fishing some. Obviously she's not going to go with Dad all day or anything, but I wanted her to be able to go out with me and be able to walk around the boat, be able to move around. I mean, she's 2. She's going to want to move. She's not going to sit in place all day. And that gives her a place where I feel reasonably secure. She's not going to fall overboard. I mean, obviously she's going to have a life jacket on. I'm not going to be ever starting the motor, while she's in the boat, much more than an idle. So I'm not really worried about her falling out. But having a stable boat, I had my little John boat. I love fishing out of that boat. I have no problem fishing out of that boat. But as far as having her in there, I never would put her in that boat. It's just not stable enough to do so. But this boat is rock steady, stable. You can walk all over this boat. The boat barely moves, and so that's very nice. The only thing I may do different is in this central portion right here. I'm probably going to build a platform that comes out to about here, or maybe even the console. And that way, if it's just me and somebody else fishing, I'm making a YouTube video, whatever happens to be the case, I can have all this to stand up on. I'm a stand-up fishing guy. I'll sit down a little. I really like to stand up while I'm fishing, though. You feel better. I feel like I can cast better. You get better hook sets that way. It just works out better for me. So I'm gonna build me a full deck in here, but I'm gonna make it removable. I'm going to make it so that when I get ready, I can pull that out and I'm good to go. And I've got this big open space again to take the family out on the lake or wherever we want to go. But what that affords me to be able to do is I'm going to be able to put storage in here and put boxes in here. And that's where I'm going to have my day boxes and my tackle storage. That way I don't have to deal with, just having an open tackle box in here. The unfortunate part is I took this boat out, like I said before, last weekend for the first time. We went out on the White River. I have a little bit of footage from that day.
Here we are on the flooded White River with yours truly, Mr. Cody Patterson, the White River Angler.
took my GoPro with me, but I got a new mount, and I forgot to put either the new mount or the old mount in the bag. So I had no way to attach the GoPro to my chest harness. I got a little bit of footage of me, you know, running the boat for a minute, and that was all we got. We only caught like 6 fish that day. The water down here in Arkansas is so far up everywhere. The river's up, The lakes are up. Everything's up right now. So fishing down here is just tough right now. The only thing about you could do right now would be able to find a big lake. And as I said before, the weather's been so bad, it's been raining so much that, you know, nobody wants to be out on a big lake in the middle of a rainstorm. I don't want to be on a small creek in the middle of a rainstorm for that matter. So we just haven't really been fishing. It's been cold. It's supposed to get down to, it got down to 30 something degrees last night, 33, 34. I had to clean frost off my windshield this morning when I came out to go to work. It's just crazy. The weather's nuts right now. But it's warming up. The water is right there at spawn point, so I know these fish are fixing to be on beds. It's going to afford us some really good fishing. We just got to get that river down. That way we can get into our creeks and stuff that I know. There's a big lake we went to actually last weekend. After we got off the river, we caught 2 fish on the river in hours. And so it was about 5 o'clock, and so I said, let's pull out, and we went to a place called Pickett Lake in just a little further south than where I live. And man, you'd have to see that place. It's gorgeous, huge cypress trees. I mean, it's picturesque. That is a very difficult lake. It's actually the lake where I caught my 7-pounder that I didn't get on camera last year because, again, GoPro problems. But another exciting thing that's coming to the channel, I am getting a new GoPro. So I've got this Hero 3. It does great. However, this is going to be my backup camera. I'm getting the new GoPro Hero 8 Black. I've looked at so much footage shot on it, and the footage is just gorgeous. I love the way the footage looks that comes out of that camera. So I went ahead and did it. They've got their trade-in program right now. You send in an old digital camera, and you get $100 off. And I think the total cost of the GoPro, I don't remember what it is, but you know, it takes a lot off the cost to you. And so we did that. I've actually sent in the other digital camera, so hopefully here pretty soon they'll ship out my new GoPro. So I'm sure I'll probably do a review video on that. I'll show you guys some test footage. We'll go through the settings and all that, and that way you can decide if you like that camera. If you were thinking about getting a GoPro, you know, you can kind of decide. We maybe do a comparison between the Hero 3 and the Hero 8. I don't know yet. If you have any, you know, comments or opinions for the channel, a video you would like to see, please, by all means, put it in the comments. I'm always open for suggestions. I want to put on here what people like to see. Like I said, I am trying to grow this channel. I want to get to, you know, at least a few hundred viewers by the end of this season, and I would like to be more than that, obviously, but I know these things don't grow overnight. I know they usually take a year or two to take off. I'm patient with that. That's fine. I just really started this channel last year and posting videos, and then I had a big break in between. It's actually turkey season right now in Arkansas. I'm kind of thinking about maybe going to do a public land turkey hunt. The one hunting video I've posted this entire time has the most views on my entire channel, which who would think that on a fishing channel, you know? But anyway, it is what it is. So I don't know what we'll be doing coming up. We're definitely going to be doing some fishing, I can tell you that. Now that I've got this boat, I'm chomping at the bit. This is the first boat that I've ever had of this size. I've had a 16-foot bass boat before, but the trim unit on it was no good, so the boat wouldn't even plane out. I really enjoyed fishing out of that boat, but when you don't have the motor to get where you want to go, it makes it kind of difficult. But I am very excited to fish out of this thing again. And, you know, I didn't get to do just a ton of fishing the other day out of it, but we didn't get started till like noon that day, and we fished till dark, but we ended up pulling out. So it was kind of a weird day, unfortunately. And like I said, I didn't get any of it on camera. But yeah, that's basically all I wanted to say in this video. Wanted to show you guys my boat. Like I said, I am very sorry that the lighting conditions and stuff are less than optimal because, you know, but we're working with what we got, right? We got our light source over there all set up, and hopefully you'll be able to see good enough. You'll be seeing this boat enough in upcoming videos that it really won't matter. But I really appreciate you guys for watching. Please come back and watch again. Hit the subscribe button. It doesn't cost you anything, and it supports me. You know, the more videos you watch, the better for me. I actually just found out that YouTube has new guidelines for their channels, and to even be able to monetize or get partnered, you have to have 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 watch hours. So yeah, we just hit 500 the other day. So I got a long way to go on the watch hours, got a long way to go on the subscribers, but I think we can get there. I really do. But again, thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.
Later.